Akinyuli, why did you go so soon?
Born in Makurdi, Benue State, but hailed from Nanka in Orumba local government area of Anambra State, young Dora attended St. Patrick Primary School, Isofia, Anambra State. For secondary education, she attended Queen of the Holy Rosary Secondary School, Nsukka, in 1973.
Dora was my student at Queen of the Holy Rosary Secondary School in Nsukka. I taught her. She was a brilliant girl, very conscientious. Everything she does perfectly. Punctuality, she's there. You give them something to do, she'll be the first to do it. If you scold her, she takes it. She feels you are teaching her. She will correct, and you will never repeat that correction again.
She told me later that as a young girl at school, I was visiting, I think Enugu, and Dora was one of the school children that have lined the route to welcome the head of state. And just by the time I arrived, the senior girls sent her, or sent some of them junior ones on an errand to go and buy them something to drink or eat. And by the time she came back, my convoy has come and gone, and she did not have the opportunity to even have a glimpse of me, or even to wave at me. And this was what she wanted very, very badly.
Her exceptional performance earned her Eastern Nigerian government and federal government scholarships to further her education. Professor Akinyuli got her Bachelor of Pharmacy honors in 1978 from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, UNN. She got MSc Pharmacology, London, and PhD in 1985, also at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, UNN. Brilliant, energetic Dora got the Best Student Award in the School of Pharmacy in her very first year in UNN, and the Vice Chancellor's Postgraduate and Research Leadership Prize in the Faculty of Pharmaceutical Sciences for 1984-85 and 1985-86 academic sessions. Dora Akinyuli was promoted to the rank of professor in October 2000 by the same university.
I joined the University of Nigeria in 1986 from UK. And Dora was one of the very first young scholars, progressive scholars that I met. I'm the kind of private person, but she was one of the very few people I had interactions with because of her progressive nature and very hardworking. This lady is a lady of character. She's very spiritually balanced. She's very hardworking. She's passionate about success, about everything she touches. She's a real scholar.
Professor Akinyuli, far before I became Vice Chancellor of the University of Nigeria, and she became a professor during my tenure, early part of my tenure as Vice Chancellor. Your Excellency, Professor Dora Akinyuli was so very forthright, so honest, so outspoken, so diligent in any task that she laid her hands upon. She was a woman of courage, and it takes godliness to possess the kind of courage that Professor Akinyuli had. She was courageous enough to speak up at one of the darkest moments of our national political history. She was extremely communicative, and it was always easy to know her heart, because Professor Dora would speak her mind anytime, anywhere, and even when you didn't agree with her, she would laugh it away.
She reached out to people. She was genuine, and she was courageous. She didn't have air of someone in office. She was just totally genuine, and she was magnetic, and would connect with people anywhere that she was, anybody to anybody. She was just that kind of person, and a brilliant woman at that. Did some incredible things in Nigeria.
Professor Akinyuli started her working career as a hospital pharmacist in the University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital, UNTH, Enugu, in 1978. In 1981, she ventured into academics as a graduate assistant research fellow in the Faculty of Pharmaceutical Sciences, UNN. In the university system, she made steady progress from lecturer 1 in 1986 until she was made senior lecturer in 1990. She transferred to the College of Medicine, UNN, in 1992 and became a consultant pharmacologist in 1996. From 1992 to 1994, Professor Akinyuli served as a member of Anambra State Hospitals Management Board and State Advisory Council for Women Commission. She was appointed Supervisory Councillor for Agriculture in Anocha local government area of Anambra State from 1994 to 1996.
Dora Akinyuli discharged her duties very diligently, and all through her life, she stood before kings, she stood before presidents, she stood before deans of faculties, she stood before vice chancellors of universities. In fact, anybody that had a dealing with her in top position, she stood before that person. So that's why I said she discharged her duties diligently, not just dutifully, but diligently. And that's why she achieved a lot of results that she did.
Professor Dora Akinyuli was appointed Zonal Secretary of Petroleum Special Trust Fund, PTF, coordinating all projects in the 5 southeastern states of Nigeria from 1996 till 2000.
In charge of the southeast, and she worked extremely hard. She showed personal and professional integrity in distribution drugs provided by PTF and medical hard and software. She's a very honest, hard-working person. May her soul rest in peace.
Another significant step to the late Amazon's rise to prominence was her appointment as Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, in April 2001.
The story was that she went to London for medical. And at the end of a medical examination and medical treatment, she asked the doctor to return whatever money was not spent in the amount of money deposited by our employer. And the doctor said, look, are you not in Nigeria? Nigerians used to come here and used to tell us to inflate the invoice so that the excess money can be given to them personally. I heard this story And I said they should look for this particular woman for me. That was actually how I got Dora.
I was aware that Petroleum Trust Fund will be scrapped under Obasanjo's regime. I asked her, what would you like to do? And she said, I will go back to University of Nigeria in Nsukka. At that time, she was a senior lecturer there. She said, I will go back to the university. And I said, any other thing you want to do? And she told me point blank, I would like to work in NAFDAC. To be honest with you, I've heard about NAFDAC, but it wasn't popular. And let me correct an impression that was going on. Obasanjo regime didn't start NAFDAC. NAFDAC was before Dora Akinyuli. Anyway, we tried, and she got the appointment as DG NAFDAC. Her reputation in NAFDAC was somebody with high integrity that can be depended on.
Great mother, we love you and miss you, Dad. I miss you, Dad. From the east to the north to the west to the south, we miss you, Dad. That is why I say Africa miss you. Alright, Nigeria miss you. Everybody miss you.
Everybody know his sacrifice to this country, his commitment in better Nigeria and everything. When I saw her in the hospital in India, somebody with the least life left in her was busy praying for the country. That's very rare.
I had sent a text message to inform her that at the National Center for Women Development, we had started renovating the guest house, which was named after her. And I said, look, you have to come and open it, so you just better get well and be here looking your beautiful, beautiful self. And when there was no reply, I knew that this had to really be very bad.
Prior to her assumption as the Director General of NAFDAC, this humble woman of substance knew her limitations, as recounted in one of her books titled War Against Counterfeit Medicine, My Story. She went before God and made a covenant with him.
Oh Lord, I have no experience. I don't even understand fully the functions of NAFDAC. But God, you are experienced yourself. I am young, but you are ageless. I have no capacity, but you are the God of impossibilities. You are capable. Use me mightily as a vessel to perform this seemingly impossible task of eradicating fake drugs from Nigeria, despite my unworthiness. It is only you that can use a crooked pen to write on a straight line.
Dora Akinyuli had an outstanding success as the Director General of NAFDAC. Before her assumption of duty, food and drug regulation was chaotic, to say the least. All manners of adulterated, fake and substandard foods and drugs were dumped into Nigeria. Unscrupulous individuals made fortunes from such unwholesome practices. However, when Professor Akinyuli took over the administration, there was a drastic and compulsory change. She brought in a new culture of excellence and honesty, and this flooded the entire Nigeria and the world. That made NAFDAC one of the top food and drug regulatory agencies of the world at the time.
I knew Dora when she was DG of NAFDAC during the second Obasanjo administration, and I got to know her quite well as a woman of passion, a woman of strength, a woman of conviction who fought really hard to make sure that fake drugs, both those who sold them as well as those who manufactured them, would become as much a thing of the past as possible.
You can only describe Dora at best as a reformer wherever she was found, a true nationalist and an accomplished professional. May her soul rest in peace.
She was a patriotic and dedicated Nigerian. Whatever opportunity is given to her, she makes sure she excels and succeeds in achieving that objective. Dora has left an indelible mark in Nigeria. NAFDAC is a shining star institution for this country. And when she was the Minister of Information, she ensured that she developed a system where this country will be rebranded.
Her memos to council was also always signed as DNA, the initials of her names. And because she was in the health sector, I usually joked to her that she is claiming to be the beginning of life, DNA being the basic unit of human life.
As a commentator in a national newspaper once wrote, the NAFDAC Director General is a revolutionary. She has not only changed NAFDAC, she has also changed the pharmaceutical industry in Nigeria. All these achievements in NAFDAC were not without challenges in her life. She was threatened several times. In fact, on one occasion, she was shot at, but the bullet miraculously missed her, passing through her headgear and piercing her scalp like hot iron. For her industry and commitment to the values of honesty and transparency, Professor Akinyuli received almost 1,000 awards and recognitions locally and internationally, prominent among which are the Integrity Award. For this, she had an interview on Hard Talk, a BBC program.
How big a problem is the fake medicine, fake drug trade in your country, Nigeria?
It was big before our president brought the new management of NAFDAC on board in 2001. Prior to that time,
NAFDAC, let's explain.
NAFDAC, National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC. Before the inception of the new management, we had about 70% of drugs in circulation unauthorized. We had
70% of drugs illegal, basically.
Illegal, basically. And we had 48 to 80% of drugs in circulation reported by many reporters, people that studied the incidence of fake drugs in circulation as fake. And of course, this resulted in death of many people, failure in disease, treatment of diseases, resistant to antibiotics. As people were dying, businesses were dying.
Did it really? Was it that much of a problem? Because you were quoted as saying at one point it was terrorism against the public health. That does sound somewhat exaggerated.
Drug counterfeiting is one of the greatest atrocities of our time. It is terrorism against public health, as well as an act of economic sabotage. It is mass murder.
I can see why it is wrong and it's profiteering, but if a company is simply filling pill capsules with chalk instead of a medicinal drug, is it really terrorism?
The problem is that they're not always filling with chalk. When a drug has neither taste nor smell, they add chalk or excipients or any inactive material. When a drug...
Is there evidence you have seen that having below-strength medicines, anti-malarial medicines, is actually affecting the ability to fight against the disease?
Oh, yes. Out of the thousands, millions of tablets of chloroquine we have destroyed in the last 5 years in Nigeria, most of them did not contain up to 43% of chloroquine base, as against 200 milligram base. And when these drug manufacturers now decided to start producing a second-line drug, and the counterfeiters started counterfeiting that, they even went ahead to put hologram, and the counterfeiters put a similar hologram on the drug. So anti-malarials are one of the highest counterfeited drugs because of the volume, because the counterfeiters target volume and cost.
This is obviously professional for you, but is it personal as well?
It is also personal, because when I said many people died, my own sister died. She was a diabetic. She was taking counterfeit fake insulin, and she never responded to it. Her blood sugar never really came down. Eventually, she had an injection abscess. We gave her a lot of antibiotics prescribed by the doctors. She never responded. She kept going down until she died. And we have similar stories in many families in Nigeria. It's not just our family.
Integrity Award by Transparency International in South Korea was given to Professor Dora Akinyuli in 2003.
I appeal to the international community to give drug counterfeiting the attention it deserves. To set up, as a matter of urgency, international convention on control of drug counterfeiting before it gets more serious than it is now.
Other major awards include her honor as one of the 18 Heroes of Health by Times Magazine, New York in 2005. Grassroots Human Rights Campaigner Award by Human Rights Defense Organization in British House of Commons, 2005. Special Award for Combating Economic Crime by International Chamber of Commerce, Commercial Crime Service, London, 2004. Pharmacist of the Year Medical Award by International Pharmaceutical Federation, FIP, 2005. Honorary degree of Doctor of Laws by University of Bristol, London, 2006. Honorary Georgia citizen by the State of Georgia, United States of America, 2006. Agribusiness International Euromarket Trans Business Awards, 2003, 2005, and 2006 respectively, by the European Marketing Research Center, EMRC, Brussels. Person of the Year 2005 Award by Silverbird Communications Limited, 2006.
I have received over 300 awards and recognitions from all over the world, but this particular award is special. It is special because it is an award by the Nigerian people.
Dora was conferred with the National Order of the Federal Republic, OFR, and recognized as an icon of hope for Nigerians by the then President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, in 2002. From December 2008 to March 2010, Dora made her mark as the Minister of Information and Communications. The ministry under her was indeed vibrant, with the launching of the Rebranding Nigeria campaign project with a theme, Good People, Great Nation. She also revived the ministerial press briefing, which made ministers accountable to Nigerians.
You know that the first impression of Dora when you meet her anywhere is that she's the way she dresses. She's a typical Nigerian woman. You will not no mistake about it. It reflects the tradition and the culture of our people. I first met Dora when I was the deputy governor of Bayelsa State. I think my governor traveled out of the country, and the National Council on Health had their annual meetings in Bayelsa State. So I went for the opening. Then she was appointed the DG NAFDAC, and of course she was doing very well, and we were just reading about her. When I went for that opening, I thought that she was there and I wanted to see her. But when I inquired, she was not at the opening. But I was told that she was to come in that evening for the program that was actually to start the following day. So I told my commissioner for health, then our commissioner for health, that if she comes in that evening, she should have a breakfast with me the following morning. And she did visit me at the deputy governor's lodge in Nagua. The first thing Dora did was to condemn the bread on my breakfast table, that the bread was not warmed, and summoned all my stewards then and admonished them that they have to warm the breakfast bread before we eat. Otherwise, some mold could cause some stomach upset. That was my first interaction with Dora.
At the Ministry of Information, she had her program, her project, the Rebrand Nigerian project. Today, to her credit, the slogan, Good People, Great Nation, has become a national slogan. And contrary to reports We have never stopped the rebranding program. We have continued to fund the department. The jingles concerning the new brand for Nigeria, Good People, Great Nation, continue to run on our national media. And today that slogan has not only become a popular national slogan. Wherever you go in the world, young people, when you mention Nigeria, they say, good people, great nation.
Akinyuli led the campaign train crisscrossing Nigeria, preaching the message of hope, patriotism, and the fact that Nigerians should appreciate Nigeria and be proud of their country.
This a food for thought slogan that will aspire us to greatness. Without good people, there will be no great nation.
We cannot hope to realize our huge growth potentials as a nation if we do not first eschew all the negative attitudes which have had the effect of stunting our growth and development. We must, as a people, embrace attitudinal reorientation, which is what this campaign is all about.
Everything negative is attributed to Nigeria and Nigerians. Is it good? Is it fair? And is it redeemable? It is sad and unfortunate that this is how Nigeria and Nigerians are perceived worldwide. It calls for concerted action to reverse this negative perception.
Nigeria is a brand. The largest democracy in Africa, the most populous African country, definitely is a brand. This journey will be slow and painful, but it's tied to our national development as a people. As we progress in this journey, if we endure and persevere, we will be a better people tomorrow. Our children will be able to inherit a Nigeria that they can take to the bank.
Akinyuli was reappointed Minister of Information by President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan in May 2010. Her determination and passion for her people made Dora resign her appointment as Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria with the aim of serving her people as a representative of her senatorial district under the All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA. Although the result was not in her favor, it was a gallant scenario.
Oh, Dora, you're gone. Oh, let your spirit lives on. Let your spirit lives on. Africa miss you now. Dora, Akinyuli, let your spirit lives on. See your nation miss you, great icon.
Dora will be greatly missed. Her contributions will be missed. She gave out enough to keep us, remembering her.
My name is Christabel Okoye. Professor Dora Akinyuli is like my mom. Mommy, I miss you so much, and I will continue to miss you. Good night until we see in the morning, the bosom of Lord Jesus Christ. I miss you, Mom.
The death of Professor Dora Akinyuli is a huge loss to Nigeria. In my opinion, I think she is the Nigerian president that sadly will never have. Dora is one of a kind that nobody can replace. She's somebody that has passion for her work and somebody that is so much interested in seeing that things works for this country, Nigeria. She so loves this country that even when she travels out of this country, she doesn't like to stay. She will travel in the morning and the next day we see her back to Nigeria because she will so love this country.
Dora, I would like to describe her as Nigeria's queen of hearts. She lived for Nigeria and she died in the service of Nigeria.
For me, working with Professor Dora Akinyuli was one of the best things that ever happened to me. I learned high work ethics from her. I learned greater patriotism from her. I learned greater honesty from her. And I learned service to fatherland from her.
In 2014, her people nominated her to be part of history to chart the future of our beloved country as a delegate to the National Conference. Professor Dora, in her passion for the people and against all odds, accepted to be a member of the National Conference holding in Abuja.
My name is Professor Dora Akinyuli, a delegate from Anambra State. Permit me to start by congratulating His Excellency President Goodluck Jonathan for having the courage to convene this national conference. Nigerians have for long clamored for opportunity such as this to discuss our problems and come up with solutions that will strengthen the bonds of our nationhood. I regard this national conference as President Jonathan's best centenary gift to Nigerians and a proof that he is a listening president. Mr. President's speech oozes humility, modesty, patriotism, and a deep concern for the present and future of this beautiful country, Nigeria. Mr. President, in that speech, admitted that sovereignty belongs to the people, and those in authority are only holding power on trust for the people. And of course, that nobody has monopoly of knowledge. Hence, the decision for convening this conference. One thing that stands out from Mr. President's speech is that there is no trace of negativism. For instance, he made it clear that Nigeria's unity is not negotiable, and that our duty at this conference is to discuss ways to build a stronger and better Nigeria, and I totally agree with him. I am convinced that Nigeria should remain as one nation after 100 years, despite our challenges, because our common values overwhelm our differences. Apart from our long history of togetherness, we've also enjoyed many decades of intermarriages and mutual coexistence. We have to make sure that this conference delivers on the true spirit of Mr. President's speech. While we discuss the value of unity as written in his speech, we must realize that millions of Nigerians are being discriminated against in various parts of this country, where they are born, where their forefathers lived, based on the so-called state of origin. The founding fathers of Nigeria had a dream of building a united, prosperous, and developed nation state where social justice reigns. We also have to continue to dream, because once we stop dreaming, then life is gone. In conclusion, I am convinced that Nigeria will work and fulfill its destiny. I therefore look forward to collaborating with other delegates to chart the way for a better Nigeria. We all want to see a positively transformed Nigeria. I therefore urge all of us to work individually and collectively so as to set the right agenda for Nigeria of her dream.
This was her last service to her fatherland. Her colleagues from the National Conference held a special mass and service of songs at her Abuja residence. It was indeed very touching.
I've seen many members of the National Conference who are here, the leader of the Southeast delegation, the secretary of the conference itself, and so many of you, distinguished delegates, friends of the family, and all those who have gathered. After such a long day discussing Nigeria's foreign relations and those issues which we had to do with nay and yea, this evening will not have a very long sermon. Just a few words. But it is important that Professor A.B.C. Nwosu and a few others initiated this evening's Holy Mass. They felt that someone who has been a member of the National Conference, who in the middle of the National Conference has gone back to her Creator, that there was need for us to show a sign, significant sign of our faith and of our belief that she is still with us. Beginning of this Mass, Dora lives on.
An unprecedented event took place after her death, as the Federal Executive Council held a valedictory session in her honor, where the President and the members of the Federal Executive Council paid shining tributes.
Some of us who worked with her in the last cabinet before this, from 2007 to 2011, she served as the Information and Communication Minister, and having served as a member of the Federal Executive Council, it's only proper that we use today's council as a moment of tribute.
The demise of Professor Akinyuli is indeed a great loss.
It does not matter for how long or how far back you know Professor Dora. Once you meet and know each other, it is like you've known her forever. She's one person whose personality immediately impacts on you. Everybody to Professor Akinyuli is brother. Whoever you are, that's what she used, and she meant it. Her attitude towards you is always portrayed at the word she called brother.
Dora Akinyuli, why did you go so soon?
Observers say, while in NAFDAC, Professor Dora served the people, but as a minister, she served her country. Professor Dora Akinyuli was a devout Catholic and was happily married to Dr. John Chike Akinyuli, a medical doctor. The couple is blessed with 6 successful children. They are Ijeoma, Edozie, Somto, Njideka, Chidogo, and Obunneme. The blessing was extended with a gift of 3 grandchildren.
Throughout Mommy's life, Mommy has been a wonderful mother. Her last year in this world, she spent a lot of time with us, especially during the time of her treatment. During that time, Mommy was a source of inspiration to all of us. She was a guiding light, brought a lot of laughter, joy, and happiness in our family. We miss her deeply.
Mommy, you're inspiration to me, and you're inspiration to so many Nigerians. Having you here was so beautiful. With such a guidance, with such a counseling in everything that we did, and you gave that so freely and so easily. We're slowly reconciling with the fact that you're not here, that we're not going to see your face. But we can only rejoice because we know that we will be reunited one day in heaven.
My cup overflows. Mommy always quoted Psalm 23 to me anytime I asked her why she was so generous towards people that hurt her so much in the past. My mother's generosity knew no boundaries, as though she understood that we're mere souls passing through a material world. A life of meaning for Mommy was a life lived in charity and service, and she performed her duties with such urgency and swiftness, as though there was just no time. I mean, when Mommy wanted something done, she wanted it done now.
And there's so much one can say about Mommy. It's really one of those situations where you can talk for hours and can't exhaust how multifaceted she was as a person. She was very serious and hardworking, but on the other hand, she was also very funny and youthful, and it was beautiful to see these two paths, to see all these differences exist in the same person. I mean, sometimes she'll stay up late with people working on a speech or a presentation or something like that, and all of a sudden she'll start cracking jokes and saying funny things and getting everyone laughing in the middle of what could have been a boring session. Mommy's faith and her belief in God were inspiring. It was so incredible to see the relationship she had with God and the way she believed when she asked God for something. If she made a prayer request or did a novena for something she wanted in her mind, it wasn't a maybe anymore. It was as good as done. She had incredible faith that made people who encountered her want to be better Christians.
Mommy, you are such a strong woman. It's almost unbelievable that I use the expression where I can hardly believe that you're gone, that you're no longer with us. But in a way, I feel your presence is still here with me. I still feel you guiding me, taking care of me like you always have. Your strength has now become not only my strength, but the strength of all your children, the strength of a nation. You lived an exemplary life, and this is a life that gives me the force to live the best, to be the best that I can be, and to really make sure that I live for others. So thank you for this lesson. Thank you for your strength. Thank you for always being there. Even death has not kept you away from taking care of us and for wanting the best for us. And for this, I thank you. May your soul rest in perfect peace, one with God, who you loved more than anyone else. And in all that I do, I will give thanks, and I will be forever grateful that I have you as my mother, that I had you as my mother.
Let your spirit live on, yeah. Dora, let your spirit live on. Let your spirit live on.
Adorable Dora, blazing the trail of excellence as heroine of the millennium. It was never really about the looks, but the golden lion heart within. She will be remembered for her strong devotion to the Almighty God. Agwai Nagbo.
I leave you with the words of this Greek proverb. A society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in. Thank you.
Adieu, our internationally renowned reformer. Adieu, seasoned administrator. Adieu, Adadiorama. Adieu, the great Amazon. Adieu, Professor Dora Nkemdilim Akinyuli, Officer of the Federal Republic. Adieu.
Dora Akinyuli, why did you go so soon? Great mother, we love you and miss you, Dad. I miss you. From the east to the north to the west to the south, we miss you, Dad. That is why I say Africa miss you. Alright, Nigeria miss you. Hey, everybody miss you. Hola, oh, Dora, you're gone. Oh, but your spirit lives on. But your spirit lives on. Africa miss you now. Dora, Akinyuli, but your spirit lives on. See your nation miss you, great icon. Oh, oh no, sweet mother, me I miss you, die. Think of all the records you break. I see me they miss you die. In Sabi Nigeria, you've been the best. When we talk about NAFDAC, you've been the best. Africa say, you've been the best. Nigeria say, you've been the best. Radio say, you've been the best.